Okay, so welcome to the advertising and acquiring new customers. Today we're going to have a chat about mobile advertising and marketing and how the industry and the sector has changed over the past year. The mobile advertising space is something that's continually changing. This is due to operator restrictions, changes in the mobile billing flows, traffic acquisition channels. So today we've got together some of the main players in that space to share some thoughts about how the industry is going. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and your company.
Yes, my name is Rabia. I'm from Lebanon. I represent Mobile Arts. We are based in several countries. Our HQ is in Lebanon. We have offices in Berlin, India, and Dubai. And we have our own solution, in-house platform solution called VAS that we use for advertising VAS services in Middle East and Europe.
Okay, so you're offering content and billing?
Yes.
Bundled?
Yes.
Okay. And Antoine?
Yeah, so my name is Antoine. So I founded Mobidea 10 years ago. We have mainly two business units. So one is affiliation. So we have been active in the market for, as I said, 10 years, going through all the waves of the mobile billing industry. And then there is a newer business unit, which is a trading desk, where we support our clients with basically managing their media acquisition for them, on different DSPs.
Cool.
And advertising platform.
Emile?
Hello, my name is Emile. I represent Yeesshh today. We are a programmatic real-time bidding platform. We specialize into formats that are not accessible through regular GAFAs. By that, I mean full-page formats such as POPs, interstitials on mobile, and push notifications. We serve something around 800 million impressions a day, so it's massive volumes. And we're based in between Barcelona and Dublin.
Great. Okay, so we have a nice little mix here, this kind of content, billing, performance network, and also publishing. So just to maybe jump into it, one of the first things I wanted to ask from you guys' point of view, kind of what do you find are like the biggest challenges now in finding these high quality traffic sources? Is it more problematic with the restrictions around the operators? Fraud is something that comes up a lot, I know, in these types of conversations as well. Finding the right publishers.
To find the good traffic is something very challenged. It's a big challenge to find it, especially when you need to target the iPhone users.
Okay.
And now recently they made a lot of change from their end. Not to able to do this or to track users. This is one of the biggest problems that we are trying to solve with some of our partners, how to crack it for the app solution. But on the web part, it's something that the problem is not there. This is one of the...
So tracking?
Yeah.
From Google?
From Google and from Apple, I think.
Okay.
And the other part that the challenge for getting good users is that you can never have 100% definite answer from your publishers or the partners that you're dealing with. They will give you a 100% guarantee for this. This is something cannot be guaranteed. Any partner or agency that we contact to try to get more users with high quality, they never give you the 100% for this. They just have the traffic. That's the biggest, let's say, challenge that we need to have a guarantee.
We can get into that a little bit more too when we talk about kind of anti-fraud systems, which I'm sure is something that will come up. And what about the split between doing in-house media buying and working with external services?
We, as a mobile arts company, we have our own in-house media buying team. It's like more than 20 to 30 media buyers. They are dedicated for our in-house services, as well for the third-party services that we also promote through our in-app monetization SDK. And we have developed this new technique it's not developed, like, I mean, it's new, but it's something that we're doing for the last 5 years in the Middle East and Europe.
Okay.
And through this one, we were able to attract clean traffic through social media channels and with little bit affiliate traffic, in which little partners that we trust, that they can help us to give us this clean traffic with with non-problematic traffic, no fraud, no brand association, and this stuff.
Okay, so focusing more on your internal. And you guys?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest challenges that I see, happening to a lot of our advertisers in this space is that, the restriction from the carrier are more and harder and less friendly towards affiliation traffic. And a lot of advertisers in the space were relying in the past only on affiliation traffic, and they had to reshift totally their company. So, as we were discussing, like creating an in-house media buy team or working with new partners that are able to deliver, high quality traffic, or from Google or sources that are.
Mobidea has a quite large in-house media buying. No?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's something that it's the area that we see the most growth at the moment.
And it allows you to keep control of the traffic. It's much easier for working with clients like him. So you can.
Exactly, and support our advertiser in geos where affiliation is not allowed anymore. So there are a lot of countries or carriers that are now asking them to sign a paper saying that you won't use affiliation to subscribe to drive a user to your service. So
Right.
I think that's a real big shift, in the market, and a big shift happening for many companies in
This
the
is what
industry.
we are facing from some operators. Like, they are forcing us to sign like a commitment letter.
I know that's right. So that you're saying that you won't work with affiliates.
Yes, it should be in-house and Google or Facebook. But even though this sometimes will not push the operator's revenue, it's very hard to make it to make the business grow.
That's one of the other things I wanted to mention. It's really like a balancing act
like a balance.
of being able to acquire customers, keep your revenues growing, and still keeping the operators happy at the same time. So it's definitely kind of like a time in the market where you're balancing.
But also the problem is from the other side, from the affiliate. They cannot control their sources. When we say, like, we don't want adult, we don't want content locking, you can do it softly but not aggressively. But in the end, when I have a service like have been living for 5 years and giving me revenue, and something happens, the operator will not look at the 5 years that I've been doing great, but he will look today what's happening, so he will kill the service. So that's why we are running away from affiliate traffic. And we are keeping only those ones that will understand our flow and who can give us the commitment, who can do what we need for our service. Because it's a legacy service. It has been like for 5 years. We cannot lose this legacy.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And that leads a lot towards, like, doing these, instead of working with external affiliates, working with somebody like with a heavy internal media buying team where there is this control over where the traffic's coming from.
In our case, actually, we really see what you were mentioning before and you're corroborating is we always worked on a CPM or CPC model. So our typical client would be media buyers or media buying agencies. And it's true that in the past, maybe 5 years, some people that were working on CPA, CPL, or performance, we were not able to work with them, and more people are coming like, oh, we now have a media buying department, we can now buy on CPM or CPC. But it's very dangerous because media buying is a science as well. It just, you cannot improvise, no? And just, I can tell you, at least from the traffic perspective, especially in mobile, there's a big challenge on the web view. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but there is a Chrome traffic, which is a normal web browser. And for people doing DCB, the header enrichment and all the web-based flows will work. But if the traffic is generated from an app, from a banner, for example, what will open, it will look like Chrome, but it's actually a web view. So it's a modified version of Chrome. And there, the carrier billing buttons do not work.
Oh, wow.
So it's really, so you will think if you are a rookie media buyer, let's say, You will buy this traffic and you will not understand why it's not performing. And then what you really need to do is to split that. You have it both on an Android web view and Apple web browser. And you can see the prices from 1 to 10 because it doesn't perform the same, and it's really important to segmentate that traffic.
Yeah, and then really where it's important to be working with partners that are just focused in media buying, and I know a lot of the advertisers now are like setting up their own media buying, their own divisions.
And that's something that really takes time, and you have to build this know-how in-house, and it can take years, right? But the shifts on the market are much faster. So I think it's one big challenge for.
And you burn a lot of money as well. Mm-hmm. Media buy is burning money until you actually make money. So.
Yeah. So it's
traffic is not free. It's not on affiliation. You can give a new offer to an affiliate. He will test on the traffic, but it's his own traffic, so he will not lose as much as if you're media buying and just you put $2,000 on the table and it doesn't work. You're not going to test another offer just like that.
Yeah.
So
So really finding kind of trusted partners is the way to do it. Now, what about as far as, just when we're talking about the advertising side, but like any mediums that are working? I know you guys work with kind of different types of ad formats. Push notification was a big thing. Is there any specific mediums that are working maybe better with other different types of content, or idiosyncrasies maybe that go with them? Like you mentioned this thing about, you could be running a banner and it comes up on a web browser and you think that it's Google Chrome.
Definitely. I mean, for example, and it also comes to fraud. I know you want to speak about that later, but it's like this whole thing about the 1x1 frame or the 0x0. People consider it, okay, it's fraud. This is fraud because it's a window that's 0x0, so the user cannot see it. But you have people doing cryptocurrency mining on the browser, and they're totally okay with this traffic. Because, okay, the user won't see it, but as long as the banner is open, not the banner, the redirect, or the iframe, they will like this traffic. So if you block that, it's a mistake because some people actually want to take it. So it really depends on what the user, the advertiser wants.
Yeah, what the content is that they're offering, I guess.
Exactly. So really depending, to come back to your question, is understanding what everybody wants, and you cannot give the same to everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah, and coming back to the mobile ecosystem, I think that even the carriers are more and more picky in terms of traffic that is being provided. So I'm seeing a trend of where some advertisers are telling us that, for example, pop traffic is not allowed anymore in their specific geo.
Okay.
So that's also one trend that
we see happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we've noticed recently is that mixed content services are getting popular because this gives more flexibility to manipulate banners, not to have more diverse banners for the same service. Mixed content services, like it contains games, wallpapers, videos. It's a mixed thing.
Okay.
So you have more possibilities to rotate banners of different verticals. This also will help merchants to acquire with operators such services instead of going into one vertical service like gaming or cooking. It's a single line. We as Mobile Arts, we had a direct partnership with Google and TikTok. This will facilitate to give our clients or anyone who connects to Mobibox to manage his own campaigns through these social media channels. Also, we introduced cybersecurity to our landing pages. We have we comfort our clients that all the landing pages should be hosted at our end to make sure that we will never manipulate anything related to the disclaimers. So we give trust to our clients by hosting landing pages, giving Google TikTok traffic, and doing in-app monetization. It's through in-app. We have our own solution, which is similar to AdMob, Google AdMob,
okay,
but it's more dedicated to mobile VAS. So instead of seeing a pop-up coming from a game, you will see the landing page coming from a free app.
Okay.
And this is what we're giving the trust and the comfort for our clients to approach us so that we can give them more traffic, more clean traffic. And this is how we're building our user acquisition.
Okay, that's interesting. So running in-app traffic.
Yes.
Yeah, through your own SDK,
Yes.
you mentioned.
It's Mobibox SDK.
Okay. We touched a little bit here on like Google and Facebook. That was going to be another point. Kind of how's that changing the game? Because that traffic is obviously a lot more expensive. There's a lot more restrictions that go around it. How important is it in the mix of the media that people are buying now?
Facebook, we are not doing a lot with Facebook because Facebook is like complicated, specifically in the APIs, in the artificial intelligence API. It works very weird. I don't know why, but each time we do a campaign through Facebook, it likes rejected. But on other traffic sources, we have it running well on TikTok, Google. We have also Snapchat, other channels, Unity ads as well.
Okay.
We are doing these channels. So we are doing as much as possible on these channels to acquire more users.
Yeah, TikTok seems to be something that's coming up a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to make a...
TikTok is more for like teenage. If you have like special services related between 13 and 18.
18.
I know like it's forbidden for this age to subscribe, but you can still introduce educational services.
That's a good point, actually.
Yes.
Right.
In which you can promote through TikTok, and the parents will approve for the subscription.
But yeah, you really need to have the right services to advertise in TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So we...
Are you doing a lot with TikTok from Mobilia?
Yeah, we do, and we advise it in... Well, we really advise to our advertiser to run on TikTok when they have the right service. Because, well, otherwise it is not, it's not profitable.
Okay.
Because the audience doesn't match.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, as you say, the industry is kind of consolidating into cleaner and cleaner traffic and demand.
Yeah.
So it's true that Google Ads, TikTok, Facebook is taking a more important role. But what I can tell you, again, from a traffic perspective, is that there are more formats out there that are still really nice. For example, Huawei and Xiaomi, they have Huawei ads and Xiaomi ads, which is very different to what we're used to. And it's still a really big gold mine because they're just starting, and it's a little bit maybe like
so much competition, I suppose.
Exactly, it's a bit like Google at the beginning. Maybe you can really be there. You're not alone, but it's less competition, and the rates are really good. And they don't work with Google because they're a Chinese-based company, no?
Yeah, that's interesting because I haven't heard about these.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have also some networks. We work with a couple of them that are, for example, focusing on devices that are not top smartphones. Okay, they are second category smartphones, but they have 400 million devices around the world, and they don't work with Google Ads. They don't work with all the standard formats. So they go to secondary format platforms like us, for example, and they perform really well.
Yeah,
because people always think more mainstream, like, okay, I should go to Google, I should go to Facebook, but there's a very long tail right there, a bit hidden.
And really hard to make those campaigns profitable. You really have to have like the right. You have to have the billing flows and the right product, and so that's really good information. You had mentioned something about the changes in the cookies at Google and how that was kind of affecting being able to track.
Honestly, it's a big challenge because the whole privacy issues lately, and especially the tracking, all the problems there has been around the world with the user privacy and how users are tracked on the internet, and the eradication, or the supposed eradication of cookies. I don't know if you guys heard about enhanced conversions, but it's super interesting. It's what Google is recommending now people to do. So instead of tracking with a normal conversion, because they cannot cookie the user, what they do is they take all the data points that a user will input in a specific website. For example, you're filling a form with a phone number, email, and address. They will take this data, hash it, and then if that user somewhere else on the internet puts that number again, or simply logs in through the phone that is an Android and has the Google account, they match that, and that's how they are able to track the user everywhere. And what does it mean? Well, it really changes the game, because if you're using normal conversions, and then your competitor is using enhanced conversions, it will be very hard to compete, because they have much more information on the user, and at the end, you will see the difference.
So in the end, actually, they're walking with more information.
Exactly.
From this change.
So it's a little bit scary because I think cookies was actually not that bad, personally.
Yeah, and now
but compared to that, they're literally taking information and hashing it and storing it. So your phone number is literally stored on Google servers. Okay, hashed, but still. when the cookie was simply on your computer. But yeah, this is a bit the challenges
Yeah.
at the moment in tracking.
And we touched a little bit on anti-fraud, but I'm sure this is like a thing for Mobidea as well, kind of an important part of the offering. What kind of systems are people using? Like, what's kind of the latest thing in the anti-fraud?
Well, our advertisers, so they're using some of the well-known anti-fraud.
So the advertisers are implementing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're the one implementing it. One big trend is that they even now give access to the data to the carrier, to provide more transparency, and which explain why they're becoming more stricter in terms of quality of traffic, and we see it really as a challenge for affiliates to still run mobile content successfully, because of all those tools and just one alert for the advertiser. They see that just one alert at the carrier level, it's enough to create
a problem.
To create a problem. So they want to avoid that.
How do you guys deal with that at Yeesshh?
For anti-fraud, for us, it's again because we're on the other side.
Yeah.
If the advertiser puts the anti-fraud, then it's our traffic that gets blocked eventually, no? And the problem is that again, it's a matter of key of identification. What do you consider fraud? Is it to take the example of before, the 0 by 0 or not? And sometimes you see some traffic that is getting blocked that doesn't necessarily has a reason to be blocked, but it's just like that. But then you just really have to work hand in hand with the advertiser. Say, okay, you're supposed to pay me on CPM or impression by impression. You're working with that anti-fraud. Maybe we can make a better integration and work directly at the source. So we go to the publisher, say, look, we have some demand that is using this type of anti-fraud. Can you please align to that anti-fraud? And the impressions that are not going to be wanted, just send them somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is how we manage it at the moment.
Okay.
See, in fraud has like 3 levels. There's high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Medium and high are not acceptable for us because this will damage the
relationship with the
yes,
carriers.
but low risk can pass and with affiliates if they do it. But most of the risk we see from affiliates come from mainly medium to high, and especially when they use something not related to the service at all. Sometimes it goes to religion, sometimes it goes to royal families in the Middle East, public figures, for example, they try to promote something like that.
So it's not fraud, it's non-compliance of the promotion.
Yeah. But for the operator, they consider it fraud or whatever.
Or it can even be worse, right?
Yeah, it can be. It's worse than fraud. Uh-huh. For the technical fraud, we solved this problem with Evina. We implemented Evina solution on all the landing pages in our web SDK. Mm-hmm. We solved the technical part.
Okay.
But the compliance part,
the human part.
It's the biggest problem.
It's really the human factor, and the
yes.
only way to combat this, it's with experience in the market and working with sources you trust, and you have built a relationship during years. What we do is that we classify basically all our publisher and sources, in 3 buckets.
Okay.
And based on the restriction of the market or the advertiser, then we would connect them only to supply that is safe. Will be accepted. But I think that's the only way to combat this, and also for the advertiser to work with direct media buy.
Yes, even we had to do special partnerships with Impello.
Uh-huh.
To protect ourselves more, to have more view on the market, what's happening. And this is something very dangerous, for us. It's something the affiliate can see it's something simple or silly. He might needs to increase his sales, and he might do this risk for a couple of hours. But for us, it's something terrible if it's caught.
Yeah, because of the long-term effect it has on the business.
Sometimes scanners don't catch it. But imagine the CEO of a mobile operator sees it. It will kill us. Definitely, it will kill us. So this is the biggest risk that we cannot, solve with affiliates.
Now, we're also coming out of, I hope, more of this pandemic. You know, we've never been had our faces and our screens so much as we have over this past year and a half. Any changes that, you know, the kind of silver linings or impacts that you feel have like really changed over this last period?
I feel like it's slowly getting back. I don't know how you guys felt it from your own companies, but for us it was really during the pandemic, much more traffic.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
many people
so
had time
more.
during the confinement to learn new skills. We were working so hard because there was so much work. But yeah, much more traffic. However, little by little, the advertising that was pulling out a little bit. So overall, we were stable, no? Because more traffic but less spend. And now, honestly, it's coming back little by little. Since I would say maybe this summer, you have all the advertisers that are reactivating budgets, and it feels good to see things reactivated, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
For us, we noticed like a lot of people migrated their countries.
Okay, yeah, shift in regions.
Yes, due to start to work locally in their native countries. For example, in Kuwait, we noticed like a lot of Indians left the country during COVID and started to work from India. And the biggest chunk of subscribers there could not subscribe, for example. So we tried when we were targeting.
Yeah, definitely affects,
Yeah,
the
we were
subscription.
targeting the Kuwaiti numbers, for example. This happened in Kuwait. There was no billing because he's outside the country. It's not connected to the network, but he can still receive the SMS. So we noticed this pattern happened during that time. Of course, other countries were affected with the migration as well. Also, we noticed like there are a lot of people who had corporate numbers, which like suddenly dropped out because they left their work.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes, this is one of the biggest things that happened during COVID period.
Okay.
And it was on a massive scale, or?
In Kuwait, it was like 400K users left
Wow, interesting.
Kuwait.
Wow.
Kuwait is a small country, but it's a high ARPU country.
And that you could not subscribe anymore, right?
Yes.
Because they were not
they are not
country.
connected in the network to the
They were
network.
like in roaming somewhere in India.
Yeah, roaming is expensive.
Yeah. And just quickly, I just wanted to touch on the content side of things, or like from the advertiser's perspective. What kind of offers are really what's working? Is it still like CPA mobile content? Or are you seeing like more of a push for video streaming or music streaming services, or CPL kind of? What do you guys see?
I'm really seeing a push for more premium content. You know, that advertisers or companies that are able to sign deals with big brands.
Yeah.
And and that's a way they can slowly also get better deals, sometimes better flows with the carriers.
For sure.
Because they have very premium, I don't know, let's imagine a Marvel content or something that is standing out in the market. So that's a strong trend that I'm seeing.
Yeah,
it's true. For us, that and streaming as well. VOD is a really big vertical at the moment. Yeah. On mobile, it's probably due to confinement, but yeah.
Definitely. I don't think I've ever watched so much on my
telephone.
telephone.
For sure.
For us, it's as I mentioned before, it's mixed content services. We're like growing fast, but for us to advertise any vertical, it's not an issue. We can do like test and see. And as you know, DCB, the way we monetize services through DCB is using the OTP.
Okay.
OTP flow, which is the user must enter his phone number and then he needs to verify the PIN so that he can subscribe.
Flow.
So this is the flow that we are monetizing like this. It's the safest flow for the operator. And we don't have any issues with this flow because it's still stable. It gives like relaxation for the operator. Like these guys are doing well. There's no risk inside.
Okay. So for somebody that's kind of coming into the market now, looking to promote their services, looking for traffic, to acquire new customers, what would kind of be your top tip for somebody coming in?
Prepare your budget. No, I'm kidding. No, do media buying for sure, and do it right. Like, know what you're promoting, and just go to the source that makes sense for you. Don't try everything at the same time. Go step by step, and just go to the top source that can correspond to what you actually need, or where you will have the users that will actually use your products or service, and then build from that.
Okay, Antoine?
Yeah, I would say to work with a trading desk that has the experience and that can really recommend you the right traffic sources, for your product. So mobile is one of them, but yeah, there were several in the market. But I believe it is
kind of doing your research with who you're working with and
key,
knowing.
To really, because it's impossible to have in one company to have one expert that is expert of Google, Facebook, of the different DSP and platform in the market. So unless you have a budget to build a team of 10 people or 20, as you were mentioning, I think it's a big challenge that medium-sized advertisers are facing, and that's why they come to us, for example.
Yep.
First step, you need to give him my business card.
You can hand it.
Okay, for us, Mobibox is the DNA of the mobile ecosystem. We can do 3 activities: attribution, user attribution, mobile payments, and content development for anything. And anyone who needs a specific service, we can give it to him directly. We can give, and Mobibox is connected with 15 plus master aggregators in Middle East and in Europe, in case he needs to start to monetize his content.
Right.
And suppose if someone wants to get into the industry and he has money, but he doesn't have the content or the technical know-how, so he can come to us. We will give him the content. If he likes the content, we can give him the connection. He can do his commercial deals with the master aggregators. We have our own separate media buyers. It will be like a
One-stop shop.
plug and play solution, and he start investing with us, and he will make money.
Okay.
So for us, it's a very simple step. It's very, very easy. So I encourage you to approach us.
Perfect. Does anybody in the audience want to ask anything specific to the guys?
Jamil, CEO of Mobile Arts, colleague of Maria.
Perfect.
It was, from our experience, it's good to have full visibility from the moment of the click on the banner until the full subscription. This is what could achieve with the direct media buying on TikTok, on social media. But what are, for people who knows how to work with affiliates, is there any other alternative platform where we can buy these clicks or impressions, where we can know all the parameters that are available on Google, on TikTok, can be also available for buying traffic with less restrictions, but still giving us the same experience for us as a technology provider for mobile operators?
If you come to us, we give you full visibility on the sources or the publishers that accept to give that visibility. Because some of the publishers are just, you cannot know exactly where it's coming from, but most of the publishers we have do give the visibility, you know the domain, you know the app, in the case it's on mobile. And for the tracking parameters, we align to Google, so you can find pretty much the same parameters. And then depending on what you want to advertise, it's just a matter of checking with our account managers, and we will connect you, depending again on your offer. It's what we were discussing before. We connect you to the traffic that you actually need or want.
Okay, and do you have any KPIs about your traffic performance, or you just provide clicks? Or you?
It really depends on what you're promoting. If you're promoting a casino offer with a CPA at $50 or an app install at $1.50, It's just very different. If you have a specific example, maybe? Or
Yeah, I mean, when you sell your clicks, are the advertisers coming back to you with some insights about the performance of these clicks?
Yeah, of course, every day. You can track actually on the platform. You can set up the conversion tracking, and then what we do is work with you closely to optimize depending on where you are converting, to remove the non-converting sources and push more the ones where you are converting.
So you provide tracking as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Not
it's
only media
included
buying.
in the platform. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. When you, to the gentleman on the left, sorry, I can't remember your name.
Rabia.
Rabia, hello, Ollie. When you were talking about mixed content services, I think I understand what you mean. Can you outline to us what kind of content you might consider to be, to make up the term mixed? When you describe a service as having mixed content?
It can be anything that the operator accepts. It can be...
Good answer.
So it could be something like music or...
Yeah, it can be ringtones with wallpapers. It can be anything. It can be anything which the operator accepts. It's something that you can monetize with good value.
And so you're referring to offering more than one kind of thing for that particular user?
Yeah, it will be in one portal with different sections. You will see like a section with videos, 50 videos, or you will see a section for games, 100 games. You will see a section for ringtones. You can see 100 ringtones. So you will have the flexibility to put more banners for the same service and to increase your conversion rate more.
Excellent, thank you.
Especially the app downloads.
Yeah. It's more flexibility because you're offering more.
App downloads and these apps belong to different verticals. This will be very good.
This is our secret. This is our key secret. And
not anymore.
Exposed here, yeah. So this is what we tell our parties, our clients to do internally. Yeah. So we share it internally, but now it's exposed to you.
Because you have always to consider to sit on the operator shoe, because you have to run your campaign in a way that if the regulator will be your subscriber, he may not be happy because he was charged.
They're always my subscribers, the regulators.
Yeah, but he must be happy that the flow is genuine.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why we encourage our content providers to always take this step of doing variety of content, especially app downloads, so they can give to the media buyer the flexibility of running one campaign, and we can also do a lot of smart link offers. So if we came up with the same banner to another service with different vertical, so there is no issue in the compliance.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It was a great chat.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.